What do we have here? Zero Hedge, looks like authored though by Michael Snyder. I've done several of his before. The biggest shopping day of the year is almost here, and marketers are working hard trying to extract as much money from U.S. consumers as possible. Unfortunately, it is becoming increasingly difficult to get consumers to open up their wallets because many of them are already drowning in debt. As a society, we have been trained to think of this as the happiest time of the year. It's the most, I'll just add a word, happiest time of the year. Maybe for some people. And for many Americans, the most important part of the holiday season is opening presents on Christmas morning. So there is a tremendous amount of pressure to spend a lot of money on presents, but this often leads to high levels of credit card debt. In fact, a survey that was just released discovered that 48 million Americans are still paying off credit card debt from the last holiday season, meaning they still have it. They haven't paid it off yet. The holidays can be hard. Cooking elaborate meals, facing frigid temperatures, making travel plans that please everyone. Overspending, however, is a little too easy. In fact, about 48 million Americans are still paying off credit card debt from last holiday season, according to a NerdWallet survey conducted by the Harris Poll. Sadly, some of those consumers will end up paying the credit card companies more than twice what those Christmas presents originally cost. And it can be exceedingly difficult to ever get ahead when you are trapped in a seemingly endless cycle of debt. So, why do people do it? Well, according to one financial therapist, many Americans are chasing an emotional experience this time of the year. Emotional, huh? Ah, oh, Christ, I got a turtle head poking. I'm getting all emotional. Gift buying requires money, time, and energy when you may already feel overwhelmed, says Los Angeles based financial therapist Amanda Clayman. During the holidays, we're chasing a sort of emotional experience, she says. Think the love and happiness of a Hallmark movie. But feelings of grief or longing may be more realistic. This is a sad and lonely time for many people, says Sarah Newcomb, behavioral economist for Morningstar. Shopping for anything or everything, can be a convenient coping mechanism. We want what we see on TV, but what we see on TV, well, it's not real. In the end, many Americans leave the holiday season feeling deeply disappointed because what they were chasing was just an illusion. Yes, some wealthy families will literally have hundreds of presents under their Christmas trees this holiday season, but most American families are deeply struggling these days. In fact, over 2 million of us are actually living without basic necessities such as running water or indoor plumbing. The following comes from Daisy Luther. A new report says that more than 2 million Americans in West Virginia, Alabama, Texas, and the Navajo Nation reservation. Now, last one touches me deeply, by the way. Navajo Indians in the Southwest are living without clean running water or indoor plumbing. They're drinking from polluted streams. They're carrying buckets of the same water home for washing. They're urinating and defecating outside with no wastewater treatment. The gap between the rich and the poor continues to grow, and at this point, the wealthiest 0.1% of all Americans now have as much wealth as the poorest 90% of all Americans combined. Let that sink in for a moment. That is a recipe for societal disaster, and it is getting worse with each passing year. A big reason for this is because the Federal Reserve, central bank, has been artificially pumping up the financial markets, and on Monday, you might have recalled, stocks hit yet another all-time high. By the way, someone better get a hold of Bo Pony and that, what's his name, Osher Financial, who's an astrologer, about that crash that's coming. Oh, not yet, I guess. We shall see. Speaking of that, the S&P 500 and Nasdaq Composite hit an all-time high, closing on Monday as they rose 0.8% to 3,133.64, and 1.3% to $8,632.49, respectively. Both indexes also notched intraday records. The Dow Jones Industrial Average also had a record close, gaining 190.85 points, or half a percent, to 28,066.47. President Donald Trump tweeted about the record, saying, quote, unquote, enjoy. But what most Americans don't understand is that 84% of all stock market wealth is owned by the wealthiest 10% of all Americans. Of course, the stock market bubble won't last indefinitely. We are already in an earnings recession, and that earnings recession is expected to continue in the fourth quarter. Now, I will say this. If 10% is owned of the stock, 84% of all stock market wealth is owned by the wealthiest 10%. I'm pretty sure more than 10% of Americans are invested in the stock market. You know, you go to a job, got a 401k, you're a retirement, whatever. But it did say the wealthiest 10%, so whatever. Point is, there's still a lot of Americans that are in that stock market, so when it goes up, they're just as happy too. We do have to throw that in there. What else we got? About 75% of the time, an earnings recession leads into a full-blown recession for the economy as a whole. Now, my papa thinks, Trump next year probably get elected. He'll be in his final year. He doesn't have to get reelected again. It might be the time when the markets really start to go down. But again, that would be 2021 because he's got to get elected in 2020 in November. Therefore, a couple months, whatever. It's official at that point. January walks in the front door again as the president. And as many people have thought, I think Donald Trump's, he's an expert at bankruptcy stuff. The United States is pretty much bankrupt. He's going to have to deal with it. Yeah, I can see that. I wouldn't argue against that. But in the meantime, that stock market keeps going up. You may want to, stay in it if you're in it, I guess. I don't know. I'm not in the market, though. I'm all crypto. Ups, downs. Again, crypto's doing what crypto does. It's not bothering me whatsoever. Not at all. Down day, up day, back down again, back up again, whatever. It's fine. If the thing crashes down, I'll find some cash and get back in. Even though I used my little bit of my side cash I had for the last dip, which was still right around the same price anyway. So, whatever. That's me taking control of my own stuff. I don't want to be putting in anything else on all these other people control that have had that control for so long. I'd rather take my chance in the crypto market, to be honest with you. Not that anything in the world is 100% safe. I think I'll take my chances there. 3/4 or 75% of earnings recessions since World War II have morphed into economic recessions, said CFRA Chief Investment Strategist Sam Stovall, who told MarketWatch that he has been scratching his head trying to reconcile analysts' pessimism around earnings with continued stock market rallies. Well, what was his name? Mr. Stovall. We've got this interesting phenomenon. It's called Donald Trump. Oh, the bond market's doing this. It's right. Inverted yield curves. Oh, yeah, I see. You're right. I'm seeing it. But we got this weird phenomenon called Trump. And things just keep moving up. Moving on up to the east side. So don't expect what you've expected in the past. Okay? And I'm still interested in what my mama Snip4 said. I think at the end of this year, you know how December, January, whatever, it always went down. Last 2 years, down, crypto market. I said, yeah. She says, I don't think we're going to see that this year. I think it's going to catch everyone by surprise. She goes, it's either going to already be up and stay up, or that's around the time it's going to start going up, like pretty nicely. And I thought, sure, we'd all like that. But you saw my interview with Penny Kelly. She's like, I did this thing where I kind of remote viewed each month out till middle of next year sometime, a little past next year, middle way. She's like, yeah, I'm getting that we're going to have a pretty heavy duty, drop, maybe 4,000, between $3 something and $4,000 Bitcoin, which would, I think she said $30 something Litecoin, that kind of thing. But I'm like, well, that's interesting. You think that or got that because My mom thinks the opposite, actually, at least for December, January timeframe. But who knows? I will say that my mama makes very few crypto predictions, but the ones she has made, like time wise, she kind of nailed a couple times. Basically, is all I remember now. Um, sure, I'd like to be right. I don't want to, I don't want to see it crash down again. Wait for 6 months, it finally goes. Like at first, it's like okay, December 2017, market's going crazy high, and then it started going down, right? Crashed, and I'm like, well, hold on, before we get all too greedy, imagine all the new people who might want to get into crypto who don't have a chance. If this thing keeps going up, what about those people? I thought, do we have to be so greedy? Like, it's okay, let the market go down and recover and all that crap. More people will come in. Well, it's been 2 years now. We're going into 2020 now. So 2017 to 18, 18 to 19, 19 to 20. We're going to be going into the third year. And I'm a pretty nice guy. I want to see people get in and make some money. But going on 3 years now, I wouldn't be too awfully upset if that market just started going up and oh my God, we're back at $20,000 Bitcoin, $300 something Litecoin. Oh my God, it's now $500 Litecoin, it's $30,000 Bitcoin. That wouldn't make me too awfully upset now. Given the opportunities to all these people, hey, you got 2 years, many people got scared away, I'm not coming in, okay. The door was open, but it might be time to close that door. However, if we get a little dumped down again, like if Penny Kelly ends up being right on that, again, might have to find some cash and jump back in again. Because you saw the same thing happen last year, $3,100 Bitcoin, excuse me, 22 and change Litecoin, and then it went to 150 bucks. Bitcoin Cash 120 something, 27 I think at the low, and then 500 bucks. Whoa, hey, you know what I'm saying? So, it could happen again. But I know people are getting impatient. Let's just get this over with. So let me just finish this little article here. So the truth is that those that are celebrating what the stock market is doing are not likely to be celebrating for too much longer. And every day we continue to get more bad news from the real economy. For example, we just learned that the largest maker of truck engines in the United States will be laying off about 2,000 workers. Those market trends are now impacting Cummins, a Columbus industrial manufacturer of heavy equipment. It's the largest manufacturer of Class 8 truck engines, claiming a 38.3% market share in 2018 over competitors like Daimler and Volvo/Mack. Cummins spokesperson John Mills confirmed to Business Insider that the company, which employs about 62,610 globally, will reduce its global workforce by about 2,000. Those layoffs will be completed by the first quarter of 2020, he said. Now, granted, that is the global workforce. How much of that is Americans? I kind of want to know that. As a perfect storm overtakes America, many believe that this will be the last normal holiday season that Americans will be able to enjoy. It has become exceedingly clear that very hard times are coming, and quite a few experts believe that the crisis that is ahead will be even worse than what we experienced in 2008. So enjoy the time you are able to spend with your family and friends over the coming weeks, because major changes are already starting to happen, and our nation will soon be dealing with one major headache after another. Now, again, the data is there to make this report say, you know what, yeah, he's probably right. But again, we have this phenomenon called Donald Trump. Markets just keep going up. Don't waste anything. People are still, more people employed than ever before. So again, thermometers, temperature thing, they don't work. Everything's broken. We're throwing darts and trying to figure out what the hell's going on based on last time this stuff happened. This is how the economy went. But we got a leader in charge who actually cares about us this time. I venture and say you may have never had a leader in charge during a bad economic downturn that cared. Although you could argue, what about Ronald Reagan, man, 1980s? That's a good one. But who was in charge of the Fed? Greenspan. Oh, we need to raise interest rates to massive numbers. Home mortgages, 16 to 18%. Could you imagine paying a rate like that in a freaking house? Well, but again, Donald Trump had a little private meeting with the Fed head the other day, and they talked about, privately, Negative interest rates. Imagine that. Have you ever seen negative interest rates in this country? No, you haven't. And if they come, again, this is that thing that, oh, well, I thought this was going to crash, and I thought that, maybe not, because Donald Trump's handling business. But, again, back to Penny Kelly, what she thought she got was, it's coming now, like next year it starts. She remote viewed, if you will, out to a little past the middle of the year, and things weren't looking too good. So it remains to be seen. I can tell you that much. And your pal Snippy will be keeping you informed on these matters, okay? Take care.